Hi, everybody, and welcome to your training course on bloodborne pathogens. The activity that you're going to be completing for this training course is the Bloodborne Pathogens quiz, and it looks like this. So we're going to jump right into the PowerPoint slides and learn about bloodborne pathogens and discover how we interact with bloodborne pathogens and other potentially infectious materials on a day-to-day basis at work. So bear with me for just one moment while I pull up the presentation for us to look at. Okay. So bloodborne pathogens are pathogenic microorganisms that are present in human blood or other potentially infectious materials and can cause diseases in humans. So those words, other potentially infectious materials, are termed OPIM, which just means there's blood, which is a bloodborne pathogen, and then there's other types of materials and fluids that can also cause diseases, and we call those OPIMs. So common bloodborne pathogens: malaria, syphilis, hepatitis B and C, which is an inflammation of the liver, and HIV. The most common bloodborne pathogen in the United States is hepatitis C. So some potentially infectious body fluids are semen, blood, which is not an OPIM, vaginal secretion, cerebrospinal fluid, pleural fluid, peritoneal fluid, amniotic fluid, and saliva. Bloodborne diseases can be transmitted in many more ways than just infected blood, and only one incident can cause life-threatening diseases. Common modes of occupational exposure and transmission: accidental puncture from contaminated needles, broken glass, or other sharps, contact between broken or damaged skin and infected body fluids, or it can be transmitted through mucous membranes such as the eyes, nose, mouth. For example, a splash of blood in the eye or the mouth. You need to have an exposure control plan. So these plans include the following: immediate availability for the exposed individual to confidential medical evaluation and follow-up at no cost to you. Documentation of the route of exposure and the circumstances under which it occurred. Any necessary vaccinations need to be administered. Also make sure that you're keeping record of all of these things. Needle stick procedures: remove the contaminated glove. Allow the wound to bleed freely for a minute. Wash the wound with soap and water for 5 minutes. Apply sterile gauze and a bandage. Decontaminate and remove PPEs and inform your supervisor immediately. Universal precautions. So you want to treat all human blood and body fluid as if they are infected with bloodborne pathogens. You want to use your PPEs properly. Clean up and decontaminate areas and surfaces. Dispose of all contaminated materials in the proper containers. Follow needle stick safety and use proper hand washing techniques. So a response to a BBP spill, which is bloodborne pathogen spill. Evacuate the immediate area. Remove any contaminated clothing and wash skin with a disinfectant. Re-enter the area using proper PPEs. Clean up. Pour disinfectant around the spill area, avoiding any splashing. Allow 20 minutes of contact time for the disinfectant to work properly. Then use paper towels to wipe up the spill area, working from the edges to the center. Place all the materials used to clean up in a red biohazard bag. Dispose of the biohazard bag appropriately, and then wash your hands. Biohazard labels. These are used to alert others of potential presence of biohazardous materials. These labels should be fluorescent, orange, or red and contain the universal biohazard symbol. Dispose of any bloodborne pathogen hazard in a sharps container, if it is a sharp, or a biohazard waste bag. Biohazard bags cannot be put in the regular trash. Sharps containers and laundry bins. Remember that sharps containers and laundry bins are contaminated containers and should be handled with proper care. Do not overfill the bins and do not touch or put your hands into the bins. Proper hand washing techniques. So now we're going to watch a short video on proper hand washing technique. So give me one moment while I bring up that screen for you guys to watch. Here it is. Okay. So let's watch this video together.
Hand washing should take you about 1 minute. Use a timer or count from 1 to 10 in each of the following steps. Wet hands with water and apply enough soap to cover all surfaces of the hands. Let the water run smoothly to avoid touching the tap later on. Rub hands palm to palm to obtain a good quantity of foam. Then rub right palm over the back of left hand with interlaced fingers, and vice versa. Rub again palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked, repeating this action for each hand. Rub rotationally left thumb clasped in right palm, and vice versa. To clean the tips of the fingers, rub rotationally backwards and forwards with clasped fingers of right hand in left palm, and vice versa. Rinse hands thoroughly with running water. Dry hands thoroughly with a single-use towel. If the tap is not elbow-operated, use this towel to turn off the tap without touching it directly. Your hands are now clean and safe.
Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video and learned something about hand washing. I know that that wasn't the exact procedure I was using to wash my hands, and since I've watched that video, I now have switched over and I've been using that method to wash my hands, and I feel like it's very effective and my hands get very clean. So hopefully you guys use that method or a very similar method and you're very thorough with hand washing when you're at work. So let's go back to our PowerPoint slide and finish up going over the presentation. Okay, so why don't we have 100% compliance? Well, there's a lack of training, busy, hectic, and rushing around the office. There's overbooked schedules. There's a decreased awareness of hazards, and a lot of people think, well, that won't happen to me. So we want to make sure that we are very compliant with our bloodborne pathogens procedures and that we really take all precautions to limit our risk of exposure. So training. The law requires an annual refresher course for bloodborne pathogens. This is your annual refresher course for bloodborne pathogens. The United States Department of Labor offers additional information on bloodborne pathogens at the following sites. This site has been linked into the training website. Right underneath this training video, you can click where it says click here, and it will directly take you to the United States Department of Labor website where you can get further information on bloodborne pathogens there. So that concludes our presentation on bloodborne pathogens. I hope that you learned a lot, and I will see you in the next training video.